stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gone live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad. I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad. Doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad. Baby, I'm bad.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tino here, back here for the second episode of today's doubleheaders. We talked about AEW Dynasty a little bit earlier. I previewed all 10 matches and got you ready for that pay-per-view that will be on Sunday night. But we're here today, and it's time to have another venting session, guys, because the Chicago White Sox are 3-15, 18 games in, can't win a series. Won one game versus the Royals, got swept, and it just has been a miserable season. The offense has been awful, and it just has not been good. But that's okay, because it's Thursday, and the SouthSide boys are here to vent, talk about the situation that's been going down, what can happen, had a few back-to-back MLB debuts to talk about, and everything else like that. So let's not waste any more time, and let's get Deech, let's get Justin, let's get the guy that's talking about it all. So, what's up, guys? How we doing here today?
Good.
How we
doing?
I'm here so I don't get fined.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what? Now I'm running a dictatorship where if you don't show up, you're fined. You're fired. I'm sorry. Listen, I don't ask you to root for this team. I didn't ask you to, So, I guess there's really not a reason to ask you guys how we're feeling because we really haven't felt. I just feel numb after all this bullshit because again, I expected them to be bad, but watching this shit every day makes me disgusting. Justin, you were talking about it. You've just been so busy with everything you've got going on. A week went by and you didn't even realize you haven't watched any games. So
yeah, none of the.
So how are you guys doing in general this past week and just with obviously. So Justin, how you been doing, man?
Busy. Like I said, no time to sit down and watch the most anemic offense in modern history, and it's crazy because that's not even like an exaggeration to say that. Like the stats are there to back it up. And then when you really look at the lineup and you realize that they're missing, the only actual hitters they had in there, it's not really that surprising at the same time. These guys have been bad hitters their entire careers, and they're still bad hitters.
You gotta love it, right? Hey, Eloy came back though, so that's that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, he couldn't DH, but he could pinch. He pinch hit. It's the same. Like some of the shit that was like supposed to be different under Getz, and we talked about this with the original handling of Eloy when he was hurt, but then they didn't put him on the DL right away, and then he comes back, and then 3 or 4 days later he's on there after they played a man short for multiple games. It's just some of the little things that you thought, oh, maybe this will be better now with the new regime, and it's just not. It's like the Bulls. It's you get the new regime, and it's just the same shit.
Hey, but speaking of the Bulls, man, the Bulls won last night. I don't know about you, but I've never been so excited watching a Bulls game last night. So I'll take 2 out of 3 wins yesterday because. Like, I don't know if they'll do anything else, but hey.
I said there's been a few better Bulls moments than last night, but the crowd at the UC was electric.
I love games like that. They just that's the type of energy I miss. That we'll always have the Laurie Garcia game. But Deech, how are you feeling? Have you been to any of these games recently? And have you seen anything different? I mean, we've talked about it, and it does not look like that there's anything different.
My big disappointment, which was promised to be better, has been the defense. I was there for 2 of the Reds games, the Friday and the Sunday one. And it's not like they're committing as many errors as they were last year, but it's still like things where you're just like, come on. Like any other fucking team I'm watching does not commit these stupid errors. And I'm a big Braden Shoemaker. I think he'll figure it out. He got the yips, and then it was like 3 errors in like 7 games or something where you're just like, come on already. Let's just stop this. So Corey Lee
playing center field.
Oh yeah,
Fletcher. That was Fletcher. That was Fletcher. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. That was a play. I was just like, of course. I was like, it's bad when this idiot trips. And then of course they get a base hit. And then they score a run. And that's the thing. It's like every team makes it look so easy to do. And then the White Sox go and they can't do anything. They can't hit with runners in scoring position. They can't score more than one run. I think they've lost. They've lost eight or nine one-run games. They've been out. They've been shut out 6 or 7 times now. They are off to the worst start in franchise history ever. The offense, as you were saying, the offensive numbers are probably the worst I think that they ever have been. And I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about metrics and numbers and everything like that. And we were talking about defense. Martin Maldonado literally is a negative 47 run differential save rate or something like that with defense. I'm just like, that's pathetic. And it's like the guys that are just, I don't even know. Like we were talking about Andrew Benintendi. They've moved him down to the lineup and everything like that. And did you guys also know that Robbie Grossman has the most walks on the team, and he's literally been on the team since last week? That's a great fact.
Surprised me.
I'm just like, what? I'm like, and then they're getting Tommy Pham, and then they re-signed Clevinger that will be up, and everything else like that. But with all the craziness that has been and everything else like that, I do want to talk about a few positives, because we did see 2 MLB debuts this past week. And shout out to Elijah from Future Sox, been on the show a few times. Nick Nastrini went out and had himself a great day, but sadly, again, the offense can't score. And he did. I think he only gave up 1 home run. I think that was it. The 2-run home run, right? That's all he gave up was, right? Because it was it a 2-run home run? I forget. Right, Deech?
I think so. I know. I think Cannon only gave up a run.
Yeah.
Nastrini only. I mean, yeah, neither of them really. I mean, they both pitched well. It's just our bullpen. For all these people saying, let's trade Michael Kopech for more prospects. Hey, we don't need that many prospects if you're not turning this into like a 10-year rebuild like Rick Hahn 2.0 bullshit. There's zero reason to be like, our farm system needs to be the best every year. Like, win at the major league level. I could give a fuck how many good prospects we have. Our bullpen is essentially Kopech, Leisure, Diego Garcia if he's on, and Tanner Banks. Dominic Leone has not been good. Tim Hill has not been good.
Flash.
I mean, all these guys where everyone's like, oh, well, you can just like buy a bullpen in the offseason. It's like, no, you can't.
Didn't we try to do that? We tried to do that. It didn't work.
Yeah, that's just people not learning on multiple levels. On that level and on the, like you said, like the Rick Hahn trade everyone for any prospect you can get bullshit. Like, I don't understand. Nobody remembers what literally just happened to us. It's not just that simple where you just dump any valuable major league asset you have for prospects and then hope those prospects pan out. You just saw that not work. You just saw why you can't just sign the best bullpen ever, the mega bullpen, and have that. Like, that's not where you spend money. You hold on to these relievers that you have for cheap who are effective and get outs. If someone wants to overpay at the deadline with major league ready talent because they need relievers that badly, like maybe, but that's not going to happen. You're not going to get the major league ready prospects from Michael Kopech, and there's no reason to just, if he keeps pitching well, have him be there. I don't know.
Yeah, he has 2 years.
They're 2 years of control still.
Yeah. So
no reason to get rid of him. Hey, he can get outs. Someone needs to get outs.
Yeah, well, and that's the same thing with that Steven Wilson that we traded for in the Cease trade. That was your major league asset that you got in that trade. He has, I believe it's 4 or 5 more years of control. So it's like the dirt cheap, like bullpen arm. And all these assholes are like, oh, we're going to land 2, like 100 top prospects. It's like, how many times do we have to go through this before it gets through your fucking skull that, like, you cannot trade everyone of value and then bitch that the major league team is bad. That's my biggest like pet peeve is like, don't complain they're bad when you were like petitioning with your fucking sign out there to like trade anyone that had any value. Like, just stop already.
With your sign. I mean, and you're not wrong there because you know that's what they all had, and that's the thing. It's like they all make it seem like they can go out there and do again. Go if you can go ahead and go do it, but I would love to see these guys go out there and try to get these guys that, like, you know, and I saw some people that were like, they were talking about Andrew Vaughn and everything else like that, and how like we missed out on Bobby Witt Jr. and everything else. But it's just like, again, you don't know what the hell, like what's gonna happen. And again, maybe, but it just like, again, and he's another one. Andrew Vaughn has been god awful, where it's kind of, some of these guys could just pick up the slack. It'd be great instead of grounding into a double play ball when there's men on first and second. Like this week at one point, they had men on first and third and they didn't get one run.
Let me ask you
how.
With Andrew Vaughn, because it's all over Twitter.
Andre Vaughn, sorry. Andre.
He has all three options left where they could send him down to AAA and there's no like negative impact other than to make him off. Would you do it? Would you send him down to AAA? Yeah. How bad he's been?
I would. I've seen that floated. Obviously, we are hardly the first people to have this discourse. Why not?
Probably not.
You're not losing anything of value taking him off this major league team. If you rattle his confidence, he sucks already. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's not like
it's the same shit like in Mercedes. You can't blame Tony La Russa because he fucking came back down to earth and like, I mean, if you send Andrew Vaughn down and he wants to go pout about it in AAA, like fuck him then.
A lot of people did try to blame Tony La Russa for that. A lot of people tried to blame Tony La Russa for everything that went wrong with this team and seem to just forget that it's just the organization.
Again, we won 90 games with Tony, so he did something right. 2021 felt like a pipe dream ago. Felt like 10 years
all
ago.
The time that Eloy and Robert missed during that season. And
yeah, well,
it was like fucking Brian Hamilton or Billy Hamilton and Brian.
So did you guys see that number too? They mentioned, and Chuck mentioned in the podcast that he did with Ryan, that year, Eloy and Robert literally played 65 games. And I think Eloy played like 55 or something like that. Like they were both out. But like with the Bulls, like we were talking about the Bulls earlier, they had like the bench mob. Like at that time, like that Sox had the bench that was just incredible with Brian Goodwin. They had flipping who did you just say? Billy Hamilton. They had every guy that came off the bench was doing something that was stepping up that they knew that they needed to, because these guys got hurt. And it's just like the guys that we have now just don't, like, I don't know. And it's just like losing every day.
These guys now are, you have below replacement level players starting to begin with, and then guys who are somehow worse than them coming off the bench
somehow, right? And that's I just don't understand. And it's like we've seen like a few things, and then it's like they go back to being whatever, and it's just like, what is it going to take for again? And obviously, there's no way this team is winning anything, and I don't expect it to. But it's like we said in the beginning, like I just wanted to see clean baseball and everything. Again, you could say those one-run games could do this and that. But again, if the offense scored 2 more runs, we win a few more games. And that's just where it's like the pitching has been so good. The starters have been that the offense has just been so terrible that it's like you turn the game on and they're already losing. And it's like, well, it's over. And you know it's over again. Like I'm starting to get that feeling again. It's starting to give me PTSD every game. And the Royals, I don't know what's going on with the Royals, but they look like they're going to be amazing.
No, the Royals have an inflated record because they've played the White Sox 7 times. I mean, like,
I know they said they were 6. They're 6-1 against the White Sox, and they're 6-6 against every other team. Yeah,
that's much more.
I'm like, you gotta love it. I'm like, the Sox have now become that team where teams are licking their lips. Like we face the Phillies next. The Phillies are just licking their lips. Kyle Schwarber's getting ready to hit bombs. Bryce Harper ready to just smash a team that was supposed to get it. It's not gonna be a fun weekend. But
people pissed about signing Tommy Pham. It's like, well, no one can fucking hit in the lineup. I mean, it's like $3 million. It's not like we're like inking him to a 5-year deal or anything. Yeah, throw him out there. I'd rather him. He had a productive year on Arizona last year. And I'm so tired of the Oscar Colas narrative. They ruined him by bringing him up too early, and so he can go hit in a hitter's ballpark in AAA. That really, I mean, Yoan Moncada was great when he'd get sent up.
He's just one of the many 4A players they've had come through there. It's the same way.
It's disgusting how good some of these guys are in AAA, and they can't see the major league hitting or pitching.
No, that's just, they aren't good enough. They aren't developed well enough, and they aren't. I don't know. I'm with you, Deech. If they believed they had anything in Oscar Colas, he wouldn't be in Charlotte. They have no
for a day, and we're like, adios. See you next time. Like it's like I don't know. our fan base, even though our farm system was so bad up until this year when all of this pitching and whatever, like Coulson and all them took the next step, our like prospect or just like how we were viewed compared to other organizations was obviously like towards the bottom. And this whole like prospect humping or whatever you want to call it is just like people were upset when Popeye or Jose Rodriguez got DFA'd to like clear a roster spot. It's like he's been in the system for multiple years. If there's not really a progress of him really showing, he's like, I don't care if he's.
I bet he turns into an all-star elsewhere just because he got out of the
I'm sure
that is being developed by the Chicago White Sox.
You know who hasn't turned into an all-star? I will say this while we're talking about this. Is Aaron freaking Bummer. I go on and I turn the Astros and Braves game on this couple days ago, and they're winning. The Braves are winning 7-1. Here comes Aaron Bummer, and they make it 7-5. I'm like, here you go, Braves. I'm like, this is how you feel. And that's the thing with all these guys like Bummer, Lopez, Giolito, all these guys. The best out of all of those guys that they had and they traded away, Lopez is right now the best pitcher, and I don't think anybody expected that, and he's doing great things on the Braves. Good for him. But I mean,
those three, he was always my favorite. I never liked Bummer; was a piece of shit. And
oh no, man, I was so happy when they finally got rid of him.
Never stand the body language and the pouting out there. That once he became like the guy, I couldn't stand him. Nice dude, solid pitcher. Like it's not like I have. There's a lot of guys I dislike more, but good God. Would he piss me off on the mound? Like, we get it, dude. You're upset. You have to have everybody watching the game know how mad you are at yourself that you just walked two fucking guys. Like, like I understand it. He's such a baby.
Can you do that again?
He's not here anymore. I'm upset he got hurt. I mean, I wouldn't root against him. And
that's just the thing. It's like I don't want to root against these guys, but there's obviously something wrong. Like if these guys are going to other teams and they're still doing this, and yes, some guys are doing a little better and whatever, but it just like again, it's not like these guys are going there and they're So again, I don't know. It just I've thought about it a lot. They always said that it was like they got a bunch of guys and they never got like it was just like all the guys they got are going to be good on like if they're not in the spotlight.
Well, the Braves have made Raylo a successful starter so far. The Sox were using him in the fucking bullpen. They just don't know how to use guys. They don't know how to get things out of guys. Ethan Katz should have gone in the sweep in the cleaning of the house they did last year when they hired Grifol and an entire new coaching staff. I'll give any credit for any success his pitching's had this year to Bannister. I don't think Katz knows what the fuck he's doing. I think he's a high school pitching coach, and he does the job you would expect one to do. Coaching at the big league level.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it more, just real quick, like the only thing he's really done is had Giolito had that half good season when he like went out and was just shoving against everybody, like the Astros and et cetera, et cetera. Like other than that, you really haven't seen anything like crazy. And
22 Dylan Cease would be the only other.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's your two Dylan Cease.
But I mean, we're talking now multiple years of dude.
Well, and that's just the thing. It's just like
Garrett Crochet. I give that dude so much credit. I mean, that he just has that dog in him. When you watch the pitch, if he walks the guy, he's like, fuck this. I'm going to strike out the next batter. Like I'm not going to let this implode on me. And like the one game against the Reds, like it is what it is. He got completely boned by the ump on a pitch right before he started to like unravel into runs or whatever.
Oh, you talking about that Jonathan India bullshit that wasn't the ball? Or that wasn't.
There was somewhere it was like, okay, that was like two pitches that were strike three, and you fucking walked the guy and it imploded, which sucks for him because like confidence wise. But I mean, Crochet has that like, I'm the fucking man type of. You can just see like the aura on him as he's on the mound. Where
do you feel it on him when you're watching him from above?
Out whenever they didn't get their way. I mean, it was just like I'm over that whole bullshit. So
it's very well said. Yeah, this is part of like changing the culture. Like it seemed like they had all children in the last one. A lot of guys, like the body language was just bad on a lot of them. Moncada, TA had his issues. Giolito, we just talked about. Kopech to the same degree as Giolito, where it's like the visible frustration on the mound, and you get you're getting yourself in a worse position because you're just in your head and you're too upset rather than just focusing on the next guy at the plate. And, I agree with you. Crochet is at least cut from a different cloth in that sense of it's a guy who wants to go to battle and is going to battle through the tough parts of that battle, not just,
Well, exactly. And even like Nastrini was talking about in that interview that he had with Chuck after the game, how he had all this anxiety, but you couldn't really tell. It looked like he was locked in for most of the game, and he looked like he was calm and collective. And it's just like, that's the thing. It's like a lot of these guys are like, I feel like they're like, they have their emotion on their sleeve, and I get it, but it's just like, you got to like know when to do it and when not to do it, because then the guys know they're like, ooh, I'm in his head. All I'm going to have to do, and then all you got to do is make me mad. And then we got fight night at shortstop. So, speaking of fight night, I mean, I don't know about fight night, but apparently there are rumors right now that Robert and Moncada could be back before the All-Star break. I don't think it matters, but do you guys think if they are ready or whatever, do you guys think that they should come back, or do we just let them go out and do whatever they need to do to get back whenever? So, DJ, what do you think about that possibly happening, them both being back by July? Because I didn't think Eloy was going to come back this fast, but again, who knows how long that will last. He'll get hurt running into first again.
Eloy was supposed to be back sooner than he was. He had like 3 setbacks where it's like,
how really?
Setback? What were you like? What is such an issue with you that you can't just ever stay?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there were like 3 days where it was like setback. What the fuck kind of setback could he? I will say Robert being like, oh, he's gonna come back sooner. Hey, I already knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, I think you did actually say that on one of the
all
episodes.
of his injuries are never like, he's such a freak athlete. Like, he's like LeBron. The recovery time of him is so much different than any other human being because he's such like a freak athlete. Like, he's like what like a body is like a temple. So like him, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Moncada, when they announced Moncada would be back, when it was kind of like everyone was like, oh, we don't have to watch him again. It was kind of like, ah, oh, fuck. Like, why?
Oh, fuck. I mean, listen, he looked sad. He looked upset when he was, and I get it. He tried to do whatever, but again, like, it just literally, like, you're this is what you're gonna get when you have this reputation of being the guy that gets hurt, that's out, that's doing dances on TikTok and bullshit. Like, there's no, like, he looks like he was about to pout and cry with his hood up, and it was acting like, again, as Deech said, with these guys showing the emotion, it looked like he was going to cry like a big baby. It's like, bro, you got to, like, act like a 20, however old you are. Like, shit. Like, you know? Like, I get it. It's upsetting, but we need to do something to change it so you don't get hurt again.
I will say the injuries did solidify one thing with Robert and Moncada, or not Robert, Eloy and Moncada, is they are fucking buying both of them the fuck out after they're not picking up those
clubs. Oh, no. Yeah, I was going to say, they don't rush Robert back. That's your one asset going into next year in your lineup. I mean, there's no reason to bring him back. If he's if he's actually healthy, bring him back. I don't give a fuck what they do with Moncada. They want to pull him back out there and have him get hurt again? Sure. If they want to say you're never taking another at bat for the White Sox, sure. Whatever.
They can pay him. I think it's like between Moncada and Eloy, it's like $9 million to pretty much go away, but then you save $40 million. That's $40 million. You could go, and to an extent. Now, everyone may sit and disagree or whatever. The city and state are not going to be like, yeah, we'll invest in a new stadium for you if you continue to put out shitty products. Jerry Reinsdorf has more pressure on him, I think, than people realize. This offseason, he's going to let Getz spend because you have to show something here, or your whole dream of a whole new stadium and all that shit is going to completely go to waste. And I did just see they're transitioning, which I knew was going to happen. Reinsdorf bought Stadium Network or whatever last year. And the Bulls, Hawks, and Sox will all be transitioning to that next October. So he has money that's going to burn. There is no reason you don't add a big bat like Alex Bregman or Alonso. You go out and spend. You need to add offensive power. Your pitching you've built up through the farm, go spend it on bats.
I'll believe it when I see it, Deech. Everything you said makes sense. Like, the logic is there, but the thought of the White Sox signing Alex Bregman or anyone of that ilk, they've never done it in my lifetime. Signed a premier free agent.
Yeah.
And that's just the thing that they need to show it. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like just show it. That's why it's like I get upset. I watch the games. I went on a little rant yesterday because ums need to be fucking automatic because these ums are fucking dumb and don't know where a strike zone is at. And it's just like that's the thing. Until they show it, like I just don't believe it because they've never done it. And the one contract they did is Andrew Benintendi, and look at where we're at with that.
And that's another one of the million cases of they were probably bidding against themselves in that price range for him. I'm talking about an elite level player like Alex Bregman or even a Pete Alonso to a lesser degree. I mean, Lord knows they need the fucking power. But
and that's just the thing. The ballpark is so small right now that like these guys can hit home. Like you see how some of these guys hit home runs. Like
Ken Williams knew how to build teams that could win and take advantage of that park. When you think about some of the lineups they had in the early and late 2000s when he was running the show, they need to get back to that. They want to play small ball in a park where, like you said, opponents can just fucking come in and just, dick them around. And I know that like there was like, the aura of 05 with like, oh, they played small ball, Aussie ball, whatever. Like they hit a lot of fucking home runs. Like,
I mean, die.
That's what they did. And they had excellent pitching and defense. So this, trying to win with guys like how the roster is currently constructed. I know that won't be the permanent plan, but there's absolutely no sense in trying to build a team that way.
So before we get to previewing the games, I want to mention that. Did you guys listen to what AJ had to say about the White Sox on his Foul Territory podcast?
Of course. What did you think of that, Deech?
So what do you guys think about everything? For people that didn't know, AJ just went out there and pretty much said that he's not working with the White Sox right now. This is exactly why, this and that. You had people coming after him on Twitter with saying like. So what do you think about the whole interview, Deech? And then Justin, go ahead.
I mean, I watched it. I obviously think he was employed during the Rick Hahn era and had just seen enough. And I mean, it could have been when they hired Getz. He was just like, I've had it. But I would have to imagine at some point during the Rick Hahn era, was no longer employed with the White Sox because he was like, Rick Hahn ignored so many aspects of the game and was just like, we're going to out hit them. But it was solely based on like, if these guys all reach their potential and just hit fucking home run after home run, which never really happened. I mean, so it doesn't surprise me. Although I remember AJ saying before the Dylan Cease trade, they are still using him as like an ass. I mean, he was sent to watch the San Diego prospects and give his feedback. So, I mean, he may not be like constantly on the payroll of the Sox, but I mean, if they need a favor, I feel like he obviously, if it's like, hey, you're going to throw me some money, I'll sit and go do this for you.
But he probably burned that bridge now just with how Reinsdorf operates. I mean, that video got back to him. So that may have been happening. We know it was happening. Like you said, he went to scout the pop, but I think he just got so fed up with it that he's like, I don't even care. I don't even want.
Well, he called out Chris Getz when Getz was on the foul. What is it? Foul.
Yeah. He said, isn't that exactly what Rick said when Chris was like?
I loved it when he stopped him. That was so great. I was like, but those are the types of answers or questions you have to ask these people because it's like, and then like even with the one with Chuck, it's like, what I mean? You have to do that because as a fan, and I'm sure he's a fan, and it's just like we were talking about with 05, it's like that's what we were in 05. It's like AJ knows what good baseball is. AJ knows what, and it's just like the fact that a guy like that has been a White Sox fan and has supported the team, even watching MLB games in the past years, he's always been like Sox this, Sox that, and now just seeing this, it's just like somebody that at least I grew up watching and just loved so much that it just like, you really it's like with the wrestling, like with Vince and everything else like that. Like you're seeing him burn bridges with these people that have been like there and that have been like this and that it just like now they're not gonna have no type of association because they're just fed up. And it's like the fans, and this is how I feel like, why, and I get like the crazy fans or whatever. And it just like, but this is it. I kind of feel like this is kind of like what maybe they need is just to somebody to finally, again, they had him call him out again last year with all the other shenanigans that happened or whatever. But I mean, I just don't know. It's like what's it gonna take for him to finally like have the sunshine over them and get this dark cloud over them that they just can't seem to get out of, and it just
A
like
new owner. That's
yeah,
all it is. At this point, if like what again, similar like a couple minutes ago with Deech talking about signing like the money to sign free agents this year and the logic behind why they would do it. You're right in your thought process and the conclusion that this will finally be, something will finally wake Jerry up. It's been a while now. It's pretty evident how he is perceived in the city, nationally, as an owner and as someone running two organizations. If he cared about any of that shit, this would have changed a long time ago, or at least I don't know. It's probably sometime in the last few years. It's nice to have it. I retweeted the video, the AJ video. There's hard to find someone whose opinion on baseball or the White Sox that I personally respect more than AJ's. He was my favorite player when he was here. But I don't think it's enough I think Jerry is just kind of like, well, the AJ's done with us. He spoke out against the creed, the family, and now we're going to continue doing it how I've always done it, which is say I want to win, but do nothing to make winning actually feasible. That's just my take on it. Like, I wish it were enough. I wish the fact that he's going to get slammed nationally, and it was enough, but it isn't.
I just think I think now he's realized he doesn't want his kids to sell the team until he passes and hands it off to them, because you get a big tax write-off for that whole thing. I do think if he's insistent on them selling, he's not going to sit and continue to lower the value of the team prior to. So, I mean, he's getting to the point where, I mean, he could live, we don't know how much longer, but you're getting to the point where probably within the next 10 years, just based off of the average life expectancy, he kind of knows it's coming. So that's why I do have a little bit of hope. And I think this whole South Loop Stadium thing is going to be more of a stickler for him, because, I mean, the city started to move a little bit faster with the Bears, because the Bears have been like, we're going to guarantee this money, of private investors that are willing to put this towards the project. He really has two options. Either you're going to go find investors that are going to sit there and really push this whole stadium thing forward, or you're going to have to show the state that you're not fucking around and you're going to put the money out there to put a good product on the field for them to buy into it. Because if you do neither of them, they're going to pretty much tell you to go kiss their ass and pretty much walk away from it.
Well, I mean, then that just gets me worried, because that just seems like exactly what the guy in Oakland just did, what John Fisher just did, knowing all along that he was going to move the A's. And that's the other side of the coin. Is that the line? Is that what he plans to do? Is this Nashville thing, is there actually legs to it? Because it's what you just described is pretty much what you're he needs to do this and do that, or he can just blame the city despite it being his own fault and then move the team because of it. Because that's literally what happened to the A's. They did no effort to build a competitive team. And then why won't anybody come to the games? We need a new expensive ballpark, but the product's shitty. No, you're not getting the money for that. Okay, well, we're going to go play in a minor league stadium for 3 years and then move to Vegas where no one gives a shit.
I mean, I watched both doubleheaders. I'm still that guy that watches every game. I no matter what is going on in that day, I don't know why, but I always got to sit there and watch the game no matter how bad they are. And watching that doubleheader yesterday and realizing that even at the night game, there looked like there was literally 800 people there. It's that's the whole. You're not gonna have any of this happen if nobody's gonna show up. Obviously, you have people like Deech or the people the 108 crew and all of them go. But nobody's gonna go, and it's just it's not worth it, and they're not gonna. I mean, the fact that a milkshake is getting more whatever the hell, and if I have to hear about that goddamn milkshake again, I'm gonna scream. I want to try this $15 milkshake and see if it's all worth it, but I just don't think it is, and it's just this is what we've gotten to this year. And it's just like I would I think about, and I like I said, I always say it and I always reference it, but I feel like it's like with wrestling, like they just got rid of Vince, all this that stuff that happened, and now Triple H is taking over, and they just like brought in this new era this past like week and everything like that. And I feel like that's the same thing like with the White Sox. If you get rid of, if it's like I feel like something's gonna have to happen like with Vince, where it's like he was forced out.
Yeah, I was going to say the caveat here is that Vince is a terrible human.
Oh,
Jerry
well, I
Reinsdorf
know
is
that.
really
I'm just saying, like,
really bad owner.
well, that's just the thing. It's just like I feel like that's the only way he's gonna get out of the thing where finally something could happen is if he gets in trouble or something, or he just passes away. And it's like I don't want anybody to ever like that. I would never wish anybody on anything like that. But I just feel like CM Punk said it 10 years ago, the company would be better. I feel like the White Sox will be better without Jerry Reinsdorf, and that's what it's gonna be. And that's just and it just. I don't know when that's going to be, because it's just like they've got to do something to make this to where we want to be a White Sox fan. And the fact that it's 18 games in, I'm already looking forward to fantasy football again. It's kind of annoying because I was excited for baseball and I love the baseball season and everything. But 3-15 is not fun. And the pace that we're on right now, we're going to go on a 7-game losing streak, and then we're going to lose again, and then we'll win another game. They're literally on pace right now to win like 32 games.
I will say before we get into previewing the games, my little rebuttal to
What we got?
bring them to the A's to an extent. I watched I think it was one of the AJ podcasts where they had Trevor May on, and Trevor May played for the A's last year. And he said for like Players Appreciation Weekend or whatever the fuck it was, that the owner of the A's bought each player a pair of cowboy boots and did not even like check their sizes, where like he walked into his locker the one day, or like his little, whatever you want to call it, in the clubhouse, and sees this pair of cowboy boots that aren't even his actual size.
I could only imagine.
I mean, the A's owner, you can compare him a little bit to Jerry Reinsdorf, let's just be honest. I read an article when Liam Hendricks went down with his whole like cancer and everything. Reinsdorf bought him a sports car.
Yeah.
And gave him his personal parking spot at the stadium and was like, anytime, like, park here.
No, you're right. That's a very good point. It's a massive difference. It's like what I said to Tino. Jerry's just a bad owner, whereas like Vince was a terrible human. Fisher is worse than Jerry. If the standard is the guy who got his team playing in a minor league stadium the next 3 years and then ditched out of town, it is the standard. Jerry's above that. But at the end of the day, it's still like a business, and Jerry might think he can up the value of I don't know what his long-term plan could be. I'm not saying that I think that they'll do it. It's just
it's there because
you're like, there's all this pressure on him, and he's just fielded the worst team that he's had in his time as an owner is crazy.
No, it's hard I try and just look for little positive niches where it's like, well, if this happens, like it could turn around quicker than everyone expects.
Right. Well, that's just called spending money.
Yeah. I mean, it
would be nice.
It's definitely, I really, it's hard to sit there. You can't guarantee he's going to do anything at this point. Is really what it comes down to is like, I'm hoping he would sit and be like, if I really want to embrace my value here and set, whether it's my kids or whoever's going to take over the team up after, you would get this whole stadium deal done, which is either way you do it, you need to spend money. Yeah. This whole bullshit of like being frugal about everything is not going to like fly.
No, you're completely right.
Fans or whoever. I mean,
and let's see if the effort's actually there to do that, because right now he seems content on it's everybody else with the problem, not me. That harkens back to like the AJ thing and how that's not going to like. He's not going to take that as constructive criticism. It's going to be. AJ is dead to us, whatever capacity, however they bring him back for whatever they use him for, whatever. I just think you'll just get less of that. I just think that he is I think he's just old and stuck in his ways. And that's why I just have very little confidence that we'll see actual change, even with all the parameters that you're talking about, Deech. He'll still just blame the city. And maybe that doesn't result in moving them if he doesn't get this South Loop deal, but he's still – I don't think – not often you get this seismic change in philosophy and worldview from an 88-year-old person. I think he is who he is. And it's unfortunate that we are the one who bear the cross of that.
And I'll eat my words if I'm wrong. I mean, at this point,
I hope you're right. I'll eat my words if you're right. Gladly.
That's just the thing. I hope so.
Out there that there is a slight chance, no matter how small it could be, like that maybe. Because I think on the aspect of Rob Manfred or Manfraud or whatever you want
to fraud.
He would absolutely despise Jerry moving the team to Nashville because that really fucks him on this whole I'm retiring in 2028 or 2029 when he announced he's like, after his new extension, he said, I'm done. He wants those expansion teams, and I guarantee Nashville and one of the Canada areas are like, ideally his outlook is like, if I can put these two in here, that's my little touch I've left on baseball before I walk out.
No, you're completely right. It's a fair point. The league itself and beyond Manfred, which you're right. He could have this be his legacy. He brought the team back to Montreal. Like you mentioned, that's fantastic. The league would rather not lose a team from its third biggest market to go when it can just start which I'm anti-expansion teams because talent's watered down enough. I think like the NBA talking about doing it is laughable to me with how bad some of the teams are in the NBA. But then the White Sox are that in baseball. They're a bad. I'm against expansion teams, but the announcement of an expansion team in Nashville would allow me to breathe a little easier on the whole thing. So I guess it's a double-edged sword.
He's also going to be a Nashville fan.
Because if they move to Nashville and then the Chicago gets one of the expansion teams, I feel like that almost taints the whole narrative of Manfred walked out with it being like a positive. It's almost like a half and half where some of it's positive, but it's like, so you let like the third largest city in like the United States, let a team completely walk out and then just add in an expansion team to make up for it. That to me just doesn't read headliner like, oh, I love Rob Manfred.
Right. No, I don't think we'd get another team here if we lost them, which I would not – my fandom would not follow them to Nashville. I would root for them to lose every game they ever played.
So are you a Cubs fan?
No, I would just be a fan of players and teams like I am now. Like I like Bryce Harper and the guys in the Phillies, so I pull for the Phillies in the postseason. I like Houston. Like it just,
Why'd you have to bring up the Phillies? Because you lead me into the next thing. Because guess who we play this weekend?
A natural segue, man. And there we go.
You're beautiful at it, man. I love it. So guess who we play this weekend? Those Bryce Harper Phillies. Gotta love it. So they do go play the Philadelphia Phillies, and then they go and play those Minnesota Twinkies for the first time in the 2024 season. Did not know that it would take this long to face the Twins, but here we are.
Yeah, whereas like they're already over halfway done with Kansas City.
I know, and
the new format sucks, and that's not just because we play in an easy division. Like I don't know. I don't embrace change very well, but I prefer the old format where we played the division a bunch. And again, our division stinks. That maybe that creeps in, but it doesn't matter at all this year. So, and I still feel the same way. So.
Yeah, it's not. Well, see that's the only thing I do like, because I do like that we do face every team, but I also just don't like that. Like it just I was looking at it, it's like what happened to the 3 games versus the Cubs on like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Now it's just like Tuesday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday.
Not even, man. They're like Tuesday and Wednesday. They're like weeknight games. That's my biggest pet peeve.
I hate it.
We play every team in the National League now, but we still can't accommodate 2-3 game weekend series with the Cubs.
Especially for teams like that, because like that, those are the games like I still get again, it is what it is. It's gonna happen. They'll probably beat the Sox or whatever, but those games just feel like like playoff games. I don't know. I get that feeling.
No, they got to be Saturday after. They got to be weekend series.
They were just so much better back then. Like I remember always on like Saturday afternoon because I think it was like that's. I think it was a Saturday afternoon when AJ punched Barrett, and I just remember standing outside of my backyard, just running around, just being so excited, being like, "Dad, AJ just punched!" Like it was like wrestling and baseball in one. I was like, "This is so great." I was like, "Let's go!" So. I'm not going to ask you how many games we're going to win in the series because, again, how many, whatever the hell is. I'm going to ask you guys this question after I go through the 3 pitching match. I'm going to ask you how many games we win in a week. So, we have the Phillies. We have Garrett Crochet taking on Spencer Turnbull. We have Michael Soroka taking on Zach Wheeler. And then on Sunday, we get our guy Nick Nastrini for a second MLB start as he takes on Aaron Nola. And then, as of now, we don't have any pitching matchups for the Twins. I would assume by the Twin series, shouldn't Clevinger be ready to pitch? Wouldn't, I'm assuming. So I would assume that he's going to pitch. I'm assuming it would be probably Cannon, Fetty, and maybe Clevinger. So it really doesn't matter at this point because they're now 12 games under 500. But how many games do you guys think they'll win this week? And it's 6 games, right? Yeah, I think, yeah, because is it 7?
I think the Twin Series 4.
I think it is. Yeah, hold on. I just want to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it is. So 7 games. And next Thursday they play at noon. So we'll actually do a post game. Well, at 5 o'clock, but like a post game of the Twin Series. So, Justin, I'll ask you how many games you think. 7 games this week. How many games you got?
2 maybe against the Twins. I can't see them beating the Phillies at all because they're not. The Phillies are going to score a lot of runs and they're going to feast. Is it in Philly or in Chicago? Or in Chicago?
Philly.
It's in Philly.
I just simply don't think that they can score enough runs in a game to beat the Phillies under almost any circumstances. So maybe they push. I don't think Minnesota's playing that well. Maybe they could push a couple across next week. But
yeah, Minnesota is 6-11. Like if we were 6-11 right now, I don't know about you guys, but I'd feel okay. Like it's so sad that they're 3-15. Like,
but on the same token, they completely fucked Rocco Baldelli because they didn't figure out their whole TV contract because Bally Sports went under. They sold off all these veterans that he had like throughout the offseason, and now
why Nick Gordon all of them left?
What'd you say?
Is that why like Nick Gordon went to the Marlins and then they lost a few other?
Who was I watching? I was watching the Mariners game the other night, and they had Mitch Garver. I don't even know if he was with the Twins last year.
Yeah, he was last year. Yeah.
So they sold off all their veteran presence on that team because they paid Correa, which who knows. Then
now he's on the IL.
Is he hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like
they're as bad as the White Sox with the injuries.
Yeah.
So, I mean, their pitching, I wasn't, I mean, their top 2 or 3 are really good, but Bailey Ober's not, I mean, I'm so fucking tired of everyone acting like Bailey Ober's some fucking ace. Like, get the
oh my God. They act like, man, this guy, he's not even that good. They also have Max Kepler. Thank God. I don't want nobody to get hurt, but if we don't have to face Max Kepler, that works for me because that guy stresses me out. Royce Lewis, again, not another guy that can't stay healthy. I'm surprised Byron Buxton ain't on this list.
Yeah, him and Royce Lewis are Robert and Eloy.
Literally. It's like Spider-Man. It's like pointing. Should we all point it?
They traded Polanco in the offseason, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. They did.
Yeah, because they lost money on that whole TV thing going under. They cut payroll and completely screwed because it's like either you're going to excel or you are screwed this year. And I thought I saw a quote by Baldelli and was like, we are not playing to the standard. But like something in the sense of like, yeah, we pretty much have been shit the entire start of the season. So,
yeah. And that just, so Deech, how many games you got this week then? I know I love your optimism, so I'm excited.
That's the thing. They will get swept by Philadelphia unless the bullpen can somehow figure it out. I mean, that's the thing. Anytime we do have a lead, it's a run or two. And like, if you hand the game over to the bullpen in the 6th, like I said, you have Diego Garcia, Tanner Banks, Kopech, and Leisure that you can really rely on. The other guys, who knows what the hell you're getting out of them. So, I mean, all these leads get blown pretty quickly.
So fast. Like, it's disgusting.
So,
Sick.
I just don't see them beating Philly. Minnesota, I mean, I'll say 2 wins against Minnesota. I was debating 3, but, like, I've tried to be optimistic, and that doesn't seem to really do much. So, fuck that.
You're learning.
Yeah.
Hey, I was gonna say, listen, yesterday I got so mad on my live stream. I was live watching the game. I took my head, I threw it. I said, I'm not wearing this bullshit for the next game. I left it on the floor and they won 2-1. I told them, I'm like, I'm not putting this bullshit hat on until they win again. So they're lucky they won, or this hat would still be on the floor because fuck this shit. So I'll say probably 2, at most 3. I say maybe they squeak one out against the Philly. Maybe. Big maybe. But that's if they do everything correctly. Jake says 17-4. Are you saying one game, or are you saying the whole series, Jadis? Because the White Sox going 4 runs in a 3-game series seems about right.
I will say, going back to our whole sickening Eloy who can't stay healthy at all.
Anxiety.
He's back to the Tommy Pickles leg. I watched the game with his goddamn leg in again. That can't help you stay healthy running out of the box when your one leg is like completely janky inside, and then you're gonna take off to first base that way? Like, come on.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, even when he was running yesterday, he was jogging. Like, they probably told his ass not to run because he can't fucking run. They're just like, well, you need to stay on the field. So again, that's what it is. So yeah, like I said, I feel like the one biggest bright spot this past week though was Jonathan Cannon and Nick Nastrini. The 2 pitchers went out there. They did their job. They went out there and they made the game fun to watch. The offense just is fucking god awful. So, and that speaking of you said it yesterday. Yes, I was pissed off because that fucking was bullshit. How the fuck do you call a strike that is all the way out? I don't care what the score is. I don't care what it is. He should have been on first. And then you see this guy, he goes, I wanted to fucking punch my TV because he was I don't care. The asshole probably got paid for the Royals to win that goddamn game. I just wanted to rant about that because that pissed me off. Listen, I don't get mad that angry. I get mad, but it's like, come on. It just makes me mad. So, I feel like we covered everything. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about or anything else? So we do got some chats, so we do have some questions. So I'll go through the chat real quick and then we'll get going until next week. We got Daniel in the house. What's up, Daniel? Thanks for coming and hanging out. You know what, guys? This is what we do. We just go join. We scrap the SouthSide boys and we go join the Back It Up Binge podcast and we go talk Oriole baseball. Because watching the Orioles play baseball is just incredible. It's disgusting. That home run by Cedric Mullins, like that energy, I just want to feel it one more time.
I love their home run celebration where they pretty much have like a massive beer bong.
It's so great.
Out to home plate when he walked it off last night, and he pretended the beer bong with like Gatorade or whatever the hell they poured into it.
It's beautiful.
Those are sick.
I like how the old heads are like, oh, God forbid someone celebrates or shows any emotion. I'm all for it. I mean, because that's the only way you're going to draw the youth into being fans of baseball is if you
exactly like my cousin has literally completely fallen out of baseball. He loved the White Sox. He loved Anderson. He loved the bat flip and everything else like that. And literally, I went to go watch him play baseball on Saturday. He's like, I haven't watched one game. We went to opening day, and he didn't even watch that game. I'm like, what are we doing here, bro? So I'm just like, but yeah, that's just the thing. It's like you don't have these people watching games because they're just, so I don't know, Binge, sign me up, bro. Listen, hey, Binge, if you ever want to come on the show, man, talk some Oriole baseball, I'm all about it, What's up, Jadis? Who? I don't even know. He said, we are we're almost as good as the Astros. But the Astros always do this bullshit. They'll figure it out. They'll win 10 in a row. Oh, Justin, you smoking on the stream, bro? True?
No.
You sound like me after I take a hit. It's okay. At least some of y'all. I mean, I guess some of them, but the only person that gives me any type of hope is Elijah. Only person I'm going to listen to now is Elijah because he seems like he knows what he's talking about. Prospects or prospects? I guess this is the question about Griffith. I'll ask you. Do you think he makes it? I think I asked it last week. Do you guys think he makes it to June?
He'll make it the whole year. There's no reason to find. I mean, you could, but like,
what's the argument? I don't understand. Give a shit team to Montoya because, like, let's just be honest. If he gets fired, they're just gonna ride Montoya out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, like Miguel Cairo, right?
Like, unless Montoya is gonna like stick his foot up everyone's ass and be like, be a better baseball player, and it somehow like translates to better baseball, which I highly doubt because like everyone's at their like what they are as like a player on the team. I mean, Gavin Sheets did make adjustments. Only guy who's seen Gavin Sheets and Corey Lee are the only two, and it's bullshit that Corey Lee sits 60% of the games.
I know Martin Maldonado can't hit a ball if it stared him right in the face and sat there and looked at him and was in slow motion. He literally couldn't.
See, but I'd be more willing if you started Corey Lee more games. If it came to like you need Kopech to like pitch to Maldonado at the end of the game because like Maldonado like Kopech just like feels more comfortable or whatever, fucking put him in then. I don't understand why we're burning all these at bats at the beginning of games where like Maldonado's best hit was like a robbed home run.
That was literally it. And I think he got a double. I think that was like that's what he's done.
Yeah. Yeah. All of that. It's not Grifal's fault. I mean, he's a terrible manager. He's not helping.
But he just got put in.
No one's winning with this roster, so it's not like you're gonna get. And then I don't like Montoya because they didn't like him in Toronto, so I don't want him to like get a go and then we're sticking with him next year.
Oh my God! Don't even because that's exactly what would happen.
So yeah, I don't even like. I hate that I even put that out in the universe. But
right? It's good if it happens, you know who to blame. We'll come back to the episode. Well, but no, that's just the thing because that's just the White Sox thing to do. It would be like just like. Do you guys see the Rockies pitcher that decided to slide into home base and now broke his arm?
Well, they shouldn't have been running. That's just. They're like the White Sox. They're
the National League White Sox is what they are. Yes, I don't know how to play the piano, but I would like to learn. I don't know though. I got a nice piano, guys. Yeah, my new house, guys. I already moved in. Not really. I wish. Look on the bright side. If they number one pick, I mean, we wouldn't be. We'd be close. Well, would we be?
No, they can't pick higher than 10 this year because of the new rule that they implemented to discourage tanking. So 10 is the highest pick they can have next year in the draft, regardless of how bad they are this year.
That's right.
It's actually like icing on the cake. Yeah. There's not even an incentive to be this bad.
Yeah, you gotta love it. You're absolutely right. I forgot about that they changed that rule.
And Matt Holliday's other kid is a top prospect in the draft next year, I'm pretty sure. And he's supposed to be better than Jackson. I haven't looked into this.
Man, I still can't believe I only learned that last week. I was like, that's funny.
You didn't know that was his kid?
Yeah, no, I didn't know that was his kid until I was just like, oh, it's like, okay, duh. It all clicked. I'm like, why? I'm like, I just never I never really looked at it. I never put it 2 and 2 together. I was like, because I love Matt Holliday. Matt Holliday was always my second outfielder in fantasy. Always. It was so great.
Yeah.
Always so good.
He was a good player.
I always loved him. Robert is not done for the season. They said he'll be back, but again, we'll see what happens with that. Again, I just wouldn't rush him if there's no point if we're fucking I feel like it's going to be worse than the 7-22 start. I don't think I don't know if they get 7 wins in April. Unless they win 4 in a row, I just don't see it.
7-22.
Yeah,
they'd have to go what? 4-7 just to match that? No shot.
That's just it's so bad. Hey, we got Chris now. What's up, Chris? Yes, there was more. There was more people at the Bulls game last night than that. There was more people probably outside at any place more than the White Sox game last night. Let's be real here. 2 games. It was awful.
I mean, I don't plan on going. I don't blame people who do. Deech, you go a lot. Like if
No, you'll be going to the one.
You can put up with this. Hats off.
We're gonna drag you to one game, the two of us. We're gonna drag you by your hands, and you're gonna sit there and hang out with us, and we're gonna have a nice Southside boys watch the White Sox lose day.
No, I'm all talk. I'll go, but I'm not very.
He said, "I'm all talk. I'll go."
What?
There's just something about going. Like, even if the score's bad, I don't know why, but even when I'm at the game, I don't know why. Sometimes I feel better because I don't see the score as long as I don't look at the scoreboard. So it's like, because you're not listening to
I'll go once for the vibes and just get too drunk to even know what's going on in the game.
There you go. See, that works. You just got to be there and support. Wear a hat, sitting, we'll take a picture, laugh, and call it a day. It'll be over by the 5th inning. Chris just listening.
It'll be over before it starts.
This is a fun fact. The Chicago White Sox and the Marlins are 7-30. That's great. That's so bad.
Is Jake Berger hurt right now?
Yes, he's on the IL.
Damn it, man. I was really hoping to see him Saturday.
Yeah, no, Berger's on the IL. Anderson is shit in the bed. And then I think the best pitcher or the best player on that team, like for the Marlins, I think it's been Avi Garcia from what I've seen. Because I look at the stats. It seems like he's hitting a lot of home runs lately, so I don't know. But they're a shit show. They're as bad. Again, as Deet said earlier, their pitching is just so bad, and that's what happens if you don't have the pitching. You got all the hitting in the world, but the Berger bombs ain't going to do nothing if the pitching giving up 12 runs a game.
Avi Garcia has 2 homers and 2 ribbies.
Oh, that's it? Okay, then I guess the only 2 games I've looked at.
They just made the way to the timeline. Berger's still – well, they got a few guys with 3, but Berger stole them. Obviously, he's out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tim doesn't have one yet.
They've always been that team that seems like they just cannot stay healthy no matter who's on that team. Because you remember with the Marlins, a lot of people may not remember when they went on. They got Burley, they got Ozzie. They tried to build like this giant super team, and it just did not.
Yeah,
fucking.
Yeah, they signed Heath Bell. They got
Heath Bell. Oh my God.
Jose Reyes, I want to say too.
Yeah.
They signed like everybody.
Everybody they tried to do,
and then Ozzie got fired pretty much right away.
Jadis. I said I'm not wearing my White Sox hat until they win a game. When we were live, it was the 1:00 game. They got their ass whooped. I threw my hat. They won last night. They won a baseball game. I can wear my hat again. Listen, I followed the rules. See Jadis coming after me? They won the second game, Jadis. What, Jadis? I'm gonna fight you. Anyway, so we're done here for today. Good venting session. You gotta love it. So, guys, we'll be back here next week at 5:00 for another episode of the Southside Boys. Hopefully it's a better week, and hopefully we have better things to talk about, and hopefully they just play some clean baseball. So, anything you guys want to say before we go here today?
Enjoy watching the Phillies this weekend. It's going to be some of the better baseball you get to watch all season long.
I have a friend that's a Phillies fan, and I was talking to her, and I was like, this weekend just is not going to be fun. She's like, I know. She's like, I'm just going to text you every time the Phillies score. I'm like, great. I'm like, so my phone's going to blow up like 40 times. I'm like, well, I'll talk to you later. So that's the thing. I don't know. Sometimes I do like watching these other teams because it's fun to watch other teams play baseball because they're so good at it and they make it look so easy.
Yeah, I'm trying to do more of that this year to make up for how little interest I have in watching the Sox.
Just stop going to Cubs games. Maybe that's the issue. You keep walking into Wrigley.
You know, man, if that were the issue, I would stop. But unfortunately, I'm pretty sure it's not.
He said I'm going next week.
Saturday. We'll see you all there.
Funny as hell. You got to love it. Well, if you ever see Justin at a Cubs game, say hi. Funny as hell. So, guys, thank you all so much for coming and hanging out here. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We had about 40 people in here all episodes. So thank you to everybody. Want to give out today's MVP, and let's give it to Eric for asking some good questions, coming here and hanging out with your guys and talk some White Sox baseball. Yes, they are only one game better. But again, those guys are, let them be, let them do whatever the hell they want to do. So not our problem no more. That's what I said. That's why, again, it's like I get it, but again, they're not our issues no more. So none of these guys are our issues. Just don't, as Justin likes to say, don't let it bother you. So all I got here for you today. But remember, guys, to always go and become a member. Leave a super chat or two. Go get yourself some merchandise on bonfire.com. If you're a member, you get 10% off all that good stuff. Go follow all the social medias. Go follow the Southside Boys on Twitter, X, and TikTok, all of the social medias. Go follow Deech, Tino, and Justin on X. You go find us on SouthSide Boys. For the picks to click, the picks to clicks will be back after we took a few days off just because I was irritated and it made no sense to do it. So we'll do it again this weekend, and let's hope it's better. But yeah, that's all I got here for you guys. So enjoy the rest of your Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, wherever you all may be. Remember to hit the like button on this episode if you have not yet. Subscribers, we are officially on the road to 2,000. And remember, if you win the 2,000 subscriber raffle, as I said yesterday, you will get your choice of a sports video game. Or if you don't like sports, you can pick another game, MLB, WWE, whatever you want. It's your choice. You get to pick the video game. So subscribe as we are on the road to 2K. And let's have ourselves a good time. So, guys, as I said, have a great rest of your Thursday. And I will see you guys all back here on Tino's Time tomorrow night for Friday Night SmackDown as we continue the road to Backlash. Guys, have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock here on Tino's Time.